If you have a tight, shifty handle, you can be any defender you want. And there's two pieces you need to get that. Number one, the tight handle, and even more importantly, shifty footwork. If you do all the things in this video, you can get both of those keys, no matter what your level of ball handling ability is right now. So first thing you want to do is have cones, shoes, chairs, some type of object set up a little more than shoulder width apart, and you're going to weave your entire body through it. First way you'll do this is with a regular crossover, and try to make it only crossovers to get between those cones, no regular dribble. That's what'll make this a little bit challenging, but I guarantee if you put the time in, you can get it down very quickly. And for every gap, you want to hit your body and the basketball between it. That's going to force you to have a tight handle. One thing I highly recommend you do is you play around with the footwork with it. So try changing the way you step through the cones, the rhythms, the timings, add stutter steps, things like that. That's how you really start to get shifty with your feet. The drills will help for you at the end, will really help you take this next level. Next drill, we're going to up the challenge because you're going to have to move those feet a little bit more quickly and precisely because you're going to go between the legs while still getting your whole body between those gaps. You'll have to have a great awareness of your body, your ball control, so you're not hitting those cones or whatever objects you set up. Ideally, if you can get taller cones or garbage cans or chairs, that'll be really helpful because they're a little bit taller, which forces you to be a little bit tighter top to bottom with your entire body and the way you're controlling the basketball. Big tip I have for you on this is to make sure you have your feet planted in a position where you know that when you go between the legs, you won't hit the cones. Then make that between the legs dribble. This is something that's really good to get down because for tight game situations, the between the legs gives you a lot of options while protecting the basketball and still being in a good position to attack. Again, the goal is to use only between the legs dribbles, no other regular or extra dribbles. Then from there, you're going to up the challenge by going behind the back. For this, using sort of a shuffle with your feet will help you get between those gaps. Just like the last drill, you have to have a very high awareness of where your body is so you don't hit the cone with the basketball. Key tip I can give you is get as close to the object as you can with your body. That way you'll know you have more space to work with for that behind the back dribble. The behind the back is one of the go-to moves for some of the best NBA players in tight game situations, so you know it's worth getting it down. Working on it this way will help you get it down in a way that's very helpful for game situations because a lot of times you don't got a lot of room to work with, just like in this drill. For the next set of drills, we're going to switch gears quite a bit. We're going to work on quick, choppy steps. Now, a lot of times those steps are enough to really shift a defender out of the way, and if not that, your defender will just freeze up, and then from there, it's easy for you to blow by them. So just like the last set of drills, we're going to go with crossovers first. This time, we want to straddle the cones or shoes or whatever we set on the ground the entire time, and again, play around with the footwork. Work on choppier steps, a little bit quicker steps, all that, but make sure you're hitting each gap with a crossover. You can try to hang and float each crossover and take your time getting through the cones while still moving your feet quick, or you could try to get through the entire set of cones as quickly as possible. Both will add something to your skill set and give you different ways of using your crossovers in games, so you can always keep defenders guessing. From there, you'll go between the cones with all between the legs dribbles. Again, make sure your feet straddle the cones the whole time. This will help you work on that footwork with your between the legs in a little bit different way, a little bit different stance, and working on that dribble at a different and tighter angle. As you can see, I'm playing around with taking stutter steps, a little bit longer steps, kind of hopping into the between the legs, and you should do the same thing too. That's how you start to get more shifty with your footwork. It's by experimenting with different types of footwork. Adding the cones helps you do that to a whole new level because you have to focus on having that tight handle along with it. Next up, we're going to work on that behind the back while keeping our feet straddling the cones. Again, play around with the footwork patterns, little choppy stutter steps, try to make a little bit quicker steps from time to time, go through the cones a little bit slower and hang the ball in your hand a little bit longer, work on trying to get through all the cones as quick as you can, all that stuff. Don't get too stuck into one way of doing any of these drills because that defeats the purpose. It takes a little bit of freestyle to get more of that shifty side of your handles down. Drill set 3 is going to make you think a little more and get you even shiftier because we're going to work on combos in a different way. So for this first one, we're going to go between the legs, cross, between the legs, cross. So between the legs in one gap, and then a crossover between the next gap, and repeat. For the first drill, keep your feet straddling the cones and play around with the footwork and try to add some stutter steps into the mix. Guys like Kyrie Irving and James Harden will use this little setup combo all the time to break down defenders, and just like them, it'll give you the ability to do it with different types of footwork patterns and in tight situations. As you can see, Zach is getting this down really quickly because this is a combo we work on all the time. The reason we had him going through this drill is so he could develop a different way of doing that move instead of just selling that between the legs fake and then coming from the crossover the other way. Next, you're going to do the same thing, but this time weave your whole body between the gaps. So between the legs, between one gap, cross between the next gap, but also getting your feet and your body between there. It might take a little while to get it down because there's so much body coordination and awareness you have to get this down, and we really up the challenge here by bringing the cones even tighter, which is something you can do for any of these drills. If you feel like they're getting too easy, just bring the cones a little tighter and you can instantly make them a lot more difficult and get that handle even tighter. Next drill, we're going to work on that same combo, but getting an explosive first step with it, being able to stop on a dime, and still getting that shifty footwork and tight handle. So for this drill, you want to think about your body remaining on the right side of the cones the whole time, and then when you get to a cone, you're going to do a quick circle around it with that same combo. So stay on the right side, go between the legs to come to the left side of the cone, cross over to come back to the right side, and then proceed to the next cone and repeat. And you want to try to keep the drill to only those 3 dribbles. A dribble with the right hand to get to the next cone, between the legs to get to the left side, cross over to get back to the right side, and then repeat. Regular dribble, between, cross, regular dribble, between, cross. That's it, nothing extra. This is really going to help you work on that footwork, being explosive with your first step, stopping on a dime, next level ball control, and so much more. If you want to shift your handle, this drill will get you it. Also notice that we spread the cones out quite a bit more. That's a big key to help make sure you're being explosive with that first step and working on your ability to stop on a dime. The further apart you make them, the more difficult you make the drill. Next drill, similar, but we're going to flip everything upside down. We want to try to stay on the left side of the cones this time. When we get to the cone, we want to cross over to get to the right side, so cross over first this time, then between the legs to get back to the left side, and repeat. So dribble, cross, between. Dribble, cross, between. This will help develop a lot of the same qualities as the last drill, just with a different combination, so it develops a different set of footwork, angles of movement, and a completely different combo since you're flipping the between the legs and the crossover around. Now, if you want a way to boost your handles and athleticism at the same time in minutes, popping up on the screen, I'll have a couple playlists with some shifty moves that you can add to your game. I have a free workout for you pinned to the top comments, and it's free, so you might as well grab it. Subscribe and turn on all notifications to catch the newest videos.